There is a ton to update you on from here at the Shmuseum. This is basically the next episode of building my dream garage. In fact, I want to run through lots of things, and I've got an idea for what we can finally do for some lighting under the lifts. That's the thing I want to be installing today, but not only that, because Martin and the Novus team have been here recently, so working over in the bathroom corner, we'll have an update with that. Over towards this end, some of the cars need to go for a run out. They've been sitting a little bit too long with how much I've been away. The Purosangue needs to go over to Whoops to have the summer tyres refitted. We've got this carpet on the floor that we've got an idea for, plus over in the workshop corner, you'll notice the new sign up on the wall, also all of the new products, and I want to talk more about that and what we're doing with LIQUI MOLY. So there's a lot that's happening here at the Shmuseum. Today, let's go through it all and get some epic lighting over on this side. Remember, when you walked in here a couple of years ago, this was a completely deserted farm barn here in England that was originally a milking parlour. It was home to cattle. It didn't even have a concrete floor, let alone all of the horsepower that you see now. Of course, it's bright and colourful, very much my style. We've built the Grandstand with all of the sponsor boards. There have been some changes up there that overlooks the Racetrack, painted by Cure with the Westwood paints to make this representation of the Nürburgring Nordschleife here inside the garage. We've of course brought in the Benpack auto stackers for all of the cars up on display and so many other things, as this has literally become something from my imagination brought to real life. This was one of those late night ideas where you go with it, and today we're going to see how it turns out. But I bought some LED light strips, some extension power cables, and more connectors to hook it up to the Amazon speaking system so that it can all be linked together, with the idea that we can unpack those and go over to the lifts. And we've had a quick look at this. We're going to find out how it unfolds later today, to mount them along the underside with the cables routed through some of the channels back here towards the rear, with the hope that then the mood lighting here at the Shmuseum that we've tried a few times, when you turn off the high bay lights and turn on all of the gas pumps, the arcade machines, the new LIQUI MOLY light that we have up over the workshop, some of the other branding and memorabilia, it should look pretty epic. However, first up, we need to go and have an update with what Novus have been working on. Then we've got a lot ahead of us. Hi guys, I'm Shmee, hello, and welcome back to the channel, and welcome to building my dream garage. When it comes to what Novus have been doing, there's some pretty obvious stuff going on here. There's also what's happened over there, which we'll go to in just a second. This is not hiding a mystery car. This has become a temporary workshop. The doors, of course, for the bathrooms, which are almost acting as a kind of curtain over the halo space. We've got some of the gear that's going to be going in there now unpacked. Lots of boards. There's a skip outside for throwing all of this away. The other carpet, because these were originally from our old offices, but we'll get to that in a moment as well. Come on through though, because, actually I'm going to switch this on for a moment. These are shaping up pretty quickly. We've got the walls taped and jointed. Oh, sorry for the LED flicker. We've of course got a ceiling still to go in. The plumbing was done behind, so we've got the waste pipe, we've got the inlet for the sink, and over on that side another drainage pipe out. We will have a little shower tucked into the corner. To show you the other room, I'm actually going to try and bring this out with me. Carefully does it to not ruin any of Martin's lovely walls. Squeeze that around. So on this side, again, this is going to be another bathroom. So we've got the sink that will go there. We've got the drainage, and we've got, I guess, a little access panel at the moment tucked in behind. But if I squeeze around and come back over this side, past everything, obviously in the kitchen, which you haven't seen for a very long time, in fact, we have a few things here. There will be a washing machine tucked in under there. The sink is now nearly ready to be plumbed in and good to go. We've got a switch now installed here. Confusingly, that switch is not for this room, which was by design, because this has a motion sensor to light it up when you walk in. This switch is in fact for the halo bay lights, so there is a physical way to turn them on and off, in addition to talking to it through the devices as we always have done. If we come over here though, past the mystery carpet, of course the idea, I should say this now, with this, remember when you were a child, you invariably had toy cars and you pushed them around a mat like this. Everything just got bigger. This is still a place where you can push cars around. The cars just became 1:1 scale instead of 1:64 as they were in those days. But what we have the idea for with this, having preserved the better of the two that we had when there were gazebos in this corner before the storage wall, is to use this as the carpet in here. Now this room is a little bit dark, I apologise for that, but also taped and jointed. This is going to become the merch room. That's what we're going to use it for, as a storage room. basically tucked in back here. We need to push the door spring. That doesn't have one at the moment, but that's an easy install a little bit later on. So some very nice progress with all of this. Still lots to go, but that is going to be most of the building work really to the Shmuseum. You can see up here, we had a few changes, swapped around where some of the different sponsor boards go. Lower boards, more partners of the channel. Upper boards, all of the work that's been here. Anybody super smart might spot something here. There are 6 light strips and there are 7 lifts. And that's because I've already opened one. But let me show you what's inside quickly, kind of how this is going to work. So these are your super cheap LED light strips. These are basically simple little things that you unravel and can then stick onto the lift and light up very bright and very nice. In conjunction with those, we then have in these some extension leads to make sure we can get them long enough from the back. They come with all sorts of cable ties and clips and stuff, which obviously we might need. These are very long cords, but obviously very low powered lights, so they're going to be nice and easy to use. And then obviously you also have the power cables and the controller. So in theory, once all of this is hooked together, actually I'm going to come and give a quick demo of this. Let me come and show you live. This is where I've probably picked the one that isn't working, isn't it? Let's see. I did actually get a couple more just in case. So we unravel this and then bring this round here to a power socket. And yes, we've got a whole load of drinks and things to go restock the fridge. I think when I plug this in, it should, let's just go straight with it, not turn on. Oh, there we go. Beautiful. So you can see how that's going to work. So my theory is that if we go and take this and go over to the lift with it, with that, and we'll need some cable ties, we can feed this very long cable all the way through under here to run it through the back. So the strip light can run across the front. We'll test some different positions. Run this all the way through this, which is open all the way to the back. And then we just need to make it tidy at the rear of the lifts so that it's out of the way, although that's kind of back of house and you don't see it. Logical plan, therefore, is LT up to start on a lift that has nothing underneath it. Trial and error. And you maybe noticed there, check this out, the new table and bar stools that we've got from LIQUI MOLY. Those are actually lovely. I always envisioned that in front of the lounge right here, we would have a little table and chair area when you're sitting down, just want to take in the view of the Shmuseum. But not only that, the usability for me, because I like walking in and just putting my bag somewhere. So this is now a good spot for it. Brad has got the McLaren key, which means we can put the LT up, which we should come and do right now. Up she goes. And tell you what, this 675 LT Spider now has nearly 20,000 miles on it. We took it to Petrol Hedonism Underground. It could probably do with a little bit of a clean like some of the others, but it's still looking absolutely lovely. I should also quickly point out that my friend's SF90 Assetto Fiorano is here at the Shmuseum again at the moment, although won't be residing forever. My SF90 is not here, but if we get lucky, today it might be coming back, and then we can talk a little bit more about it. Before we get to that, we need to talk about this corner. In fact, the last episode of Building My Dream Garage was the installation of all of the amazing Dura furniture, the workshop units that we have around this space. Up here, all of the cabinets, the pull-out trolleys and drawers, which we still need to equip with even more tools, and some of the taller storage areas as well, which will lead me on to what's here in a second. But the idea is, what are we going to do with this space now? And I had some distant thoughts. Brad has kind of led the charge with his Arbath 124 and a whole lot of tinkering and a whole lot of things not going entirely right, but currently changing the shifter. It's been up in the air, all of the drawers and things have been out all around it. But when it comes to cars like, say, the Clio V6, what would be really cool is to start doing more of these things right here at the Shmuseum. I had in the back of my mind when we created this space that a 2-post lift could go right here. We currently use the Benpack quick jacks, which you can slide underneath and lift a car up. But maybe we advance this. Maybe we find the right person to come and help do this kind of thing, service this car, do some of the work on the BMW 1M that we started with a service with LIQUI MOLY a couple of months ago. There are ideas here and things I want to evolve because it's fun to play with cars. Even when I changed the infotainment system in the 1M, it's fun to experiment and learn and discover. Now, leading that charge is very much LIQUI MOLY. In fact, we have a range of LIQUI MOLY's products along here, which I want to show you a little bit more through. We also have some of the Topaz car care products and so much more. I mean, even in these different cupboards, to show you quickly, we've got our washing equipment here in the end, so we can drag it around to the wash bay outside. In this one, if I open this up, we've got even more from LIQUI MOLY, some of the Pro products, the Pro line products and things in here as well, all of the ratchet straps and extended mirrors for towing and that type of stuff. All of this very much filling up very, very quickly, but it's what we're going to do with it down the line, which I'm quite excited to just brainstorm ideas around. One of my favorite things we've installed is this, the LIQUI MOLY motor oils and additives sign. It feels like a proper garage when you have an illuminated sign up high. We were deliberating about where to put it, but of course mounted it in that direction so it's very visible from the garage. But it's all about these kinds of lights, having stuff like that up, because it just makes it feel so much cooler. I mean, look at this space. It looks absolutely amazing. Over the moon with that. There's still more to come though. As you know, LIQUI MOLY are a partner and a supporter of the channel and the Shmuseum, so we are now very well equipped with all of the different products that we could possibly need for the different Shmeemobiles that are here, and we have some very fun plans for the future as well. But we've used things like the Motor Clean engine flush and even also the Racetrack that we have down here when we were doing the servicing of my BMW 1M. But to pick out a couple of the other things that we've actually got here, for example, the Pro line engine flush, the advantage of using this is that when you're doing a service and oil change, this effectively clears out any of the deposits, meaning that when you have new oil, it can be optimized and used to the fullest extent, and of course will help the longevity and effective use of the vehicle and the engine. Down below, we've got Octane Booster, a very relevant topic. If you remember when I was in the US with the AMG GT Black Series, that car being modified, running about 850 horsepower, needed the highest octane possible, and when we were on the west coast of the US with it, you couldn't really get the right stuff, so this would have come in very handy. Effectively, Octane Booster raises the octane of the fuel, meaning you get more effective use of power and of course more efficiency from the combustion, helping with everything that a high performance car wants when you're out on the road. Down below, more things of plenty of different varieties. We've got some oils down here. In fact, of course, different specifications depending on the cars, different viscosities, etc., but all equipped and ready for the future. In here, where we've got all of the Pro line products, lots of different things, very well equipped, as I said, even stuff like windshield antifreeze. This is very helpful. Mark my words, when I was just on that tour with the GT Black Series up to Scandinavia, I have never got through windshield washer fluid as fast as we did with that. Driving on those salty, grimy roads up through Sweden, we needed to use a lot. So very helpful, again, just to keep things topped up and filled up, ready to rock and roll from here at the garage, and all beautifully presented, if I can say so myself, in these cabinets. While it's going to be functional, it's also about looking the part, and I think this looks really nice. So my plans are to put up a little bit of branding, maybe a LIQUI MOLY logo on here, Dura, of course, over on this side, then where we've got the Topaz car care cleaning products, Topaz detailing here, and perhaps a Shmuseum logo over on that side, but functional and also beautifully presented, like the rest of the Shmuseum. That's the goal with everything that we're doing in here. Well, we've got all of the additives and the oils here, plus there are plenty of other products, of course. If you'd like to find the ones that suit your car, whether that's oils, additives, or anything else from LIQUI MOLY's portfolio, there is actually an online guide where you can choose your car and make sure that you're finding the exact things that are suitable to optimize your vehicle going forwards. So that link is down below. Go check it out. And as always, a big thanks to LIQUI MOLY. This is going to be fun, what we can do with all of this in the future. To test the lighting, I want to pull the F1 car under that bay. I know it's a little bit strange with it sitting out here like this. And the other thing I need to watch out for is that the tires are getting slightly flat spotted, which is the problem if something doesn't move. But of course, this is a showpiece. It's not a running car. It's got one man power right now as it goes down the racetrack. But I'll get it under the lift and then try some lighting and see how it looks. Oh, don't want to catch my foot on the tire. Ah, not too bad. Don't go too fast. That was actually way easier than I expected to get that in. Through we go. Let me plug this in with the extension. Should probably test all of this before we kind of hook things up. It's quite unusual having this F1 car under here, but in theory, let's get some light. Yup, shouldn't have looked straight at it. This is surprisingly bright, but with the controller, you can actually change the power. That, even with the lights on in here, makes quite a big difference. This is going to be really cool later on. So we'll start installing this one probably, give it a tester and see where we end up. My idea here is that this can go through here, and if I had some kind of metal tool or pipe or something, it would help. But it's going fairly cleanly until I hit something. We've got these holes though, so I can figure out where it's got caught. Oh, it's quite far down. It's already here. Amazing. And then shuffle it through. Yes, I can shuffle this through. That's quite weird. But if it works, it works. It looks like Brad's found a thing. Is this going to work? That looks perfect. Yeah, but we might need to attach it first. Oh, don't do that. Tape this on here then, a little bit. And then if I take this pipe, this should in theory, is this attached? Yes, you've taped it, clever. In theory, is this going to go all the way down to the far end with no hassle, no stress, no effort? Apart from the knot that I've got here in the power cable. There we go. We all the way? Perfect, magic. No further needed. We're in literally, we've got like 10 centimeters to spare. Then, undo the tape. Here. Pull that through enough that it's not going to go anywhere back again. And then very carefully pull this back out. This comes back out. Job done. Away from the cars. Do not scratch a Ferrari because I'm doing something in a rush. Magic. Okay, onwards, next steps. Here is the plan. Little cable tie around here to hold this up. We've got lots of these so we can adjust it if we need later. I'm not going to go too tight in case we need to move this. Feed that in. Then we can grab this, which unpeels, and effectively run it. I've tested this, so I've got a vague idea of where it goes. Across here, peel all of this off. This is trial or error, but like I say, if this goes wrong and I end up sticking it to myself, there's a solution later. We'll be able to work that out. And these are not particularly expensive if we're going to get some more as well. This can stick kind of in a straight line there. So make sure that is neatly done. As much down there as I can get from this side. Come around the F1. Might need to move the cars to do the other ones. Obviously this is easier because F1 car. Come round towards the back again. This is magic. It's super easy to fit this. And get the cable, which we'll tidy up in a moment, and go stand back a little bit. 3, 2, 1, boom. Nice. Small details, but wait to see what that looks like when we turn the lights off later. That is going to be seriously cool. Very happy. As you can see, the high bay lights are currently off. So we've got the mood lighting setup going on, which is going to be really nice when we've done all of this. But I need to give you a demo. So the one over the F1 is done. I have the remote controller here. Look at this when I turn it on. Check that out. How good does that look? The shapes of this certainly make it work even better, but I love the fact that you can't really see it. It's hidden away under that upper edge. Turn it off again just to show you. Back to how dark it is. Of course, the cars might not look quite as good, but that looks amazing. And we'll hook it all up to the system later on. And imagine what it's going to look like when those are all done. I'm very excited for this. Little change around. SF90 AF coming out because the GT500 needs a run. So that means we'll shuffle this out of the way. And then afterwards, we'll be able to access for more of the lights. Now, as you know, with the Shmeemobiles, I try and drive them at least every 2 months. So I have my spreadsheet, keeps tabs on what was last driven when, make sure we're all completely on top of it. And every car is basically only, at the worst, blocked in by one other, i.e. the ones underneath. And they're kind of in pairs. That's not much of a pair right now, nor is that. But that's certainly a pair. Normally it's Mustang above Focus RS, Astons, those are both manual 6 cylinders, and then Clios at the end, normally. But we'll shuffle this around. So that gives us enough space to pull that forwards, because we'll need to pull that one, and that one all forwards. But for now, let's get this unlocked, get the lift down, and get the GT500 started up. Make sure this is good. Up so we go above the lock stops, and then that will come down. It's always quite strange when you're underneath it down here. But simple, down it comes. Time to pop this open. Got the hood pins on the GT500, and then there's a latch under here as well. And then we can unplug the C-Tech quick connector for the smart charger that we have in here, or at least I could if I had a free hand, but I'm holding a phone camera, which does not make my life particularly easy. Throw the extension leads down at the back, and then Brad's inside, so once I've closed this down, we can get a nice cold start coming up. Ready? Let's hear it. Monster GT500, roll out. What a beast. One more to pull forwards, but we'll pop this back up, which again, is really easy. Massive shout out to BenPack and the Auto Stackers, because these things are brilliant. They make it super easy, and they're gonna look even better when they've got some nice lighting later on. Count down. Something tells me we're not gonna get the same startup here. Electrical whirs. Yeah, just like that. Before we head out with the GT500, we have cracked on using the pipe to feed through cables. So what we have is the receiver here, which works with the remote controller, which is this thing, which actually will do all of them together. So that's at the front end, so it's easily accessible. These are installed up here. The cable is fed through, then towards the back, very conveniently, it can go through this and out through that loop down there, which is all super simple and smooth. Obviously, we've got a cable dangling, which we're going to work out and tidy up, because it's going to go underneath these tracks that we have at the back, which house the cables for the control power units for the lifts. So we're going to go through each of these one at a time to make them all fit. And of course, to show you, with this one installed at the end, if I turn it on, no, that one's not on, but we have done this one, so I can show you this one. The end one is off at the moment. I say that, but it might now be on, because Brad is playing with that at the back to hook them up, ultimately, to the same system that all of the other lights in here are connected to. Brad has the key.
Should we do the thing?
Oh yeah, of course, obviously.
America. 1, 1, 2.
Vroom, vroom. Left-hand drive. Brad's going to pull this out. I'm going to come and get this opened up. We're testing lots of stuff today. Testing mics, testing filming.
I can't hear you.
Oh well. GT500 rollout. It's a pretty sunny day. It's going to be nice. It is actually a beautiful day. I mean, with the sunshine out, I almost feel like I'm back in Miami, back when I took delivery of this thing in Florida. But country lanes, which means in here, we are, well, we could just do the exhaust, or we could put it up into the My mode and pop it into manual and drop some gears, because when in a Shelby GT500, you need as much of that as possible, don't you?
That just never gets old. The V8 in here just screams out the back.
And as I rave all the time about this thing, the gearbox is just brilliant. Now, the aim, as I always try and do with my cars, is take them out for a run, go find some roads, go explore the countryside. I've actually never in my life driven where we are right now. We just took some turns and saw where we ended up, but the idea is to get it up to temperature, get the fluids flowing, get everything running, because it's when you leave a car, they start to have problems. It's just not worth it. I talk about this all the time. Probably a broken record, boring everyone completely to death, but I tell you what. We're back. GT500 is there. There's a problem though. The next thing on the task list is to get the Purosangue out. That would be okay, but the other three here are not okay. We have done the cable installations though, so we can slide them all back. We'll slide these two back. Then the GT500 needs to go up, then the SF90. I think we can do this. We'll push all the cars back and then get ready for the Puro. Maybe. Gonna see where this goes. First up, Ferrari 296 GTS. And next, the GT Black Series. Small blunder. Yes, we left that under the wheel. So, new plan, that out. Then this can go back again. Onwards, we've got the GT8 now. That does make you jump every single time. Around here then, because, well, we've got all of the tools, obviously this lift needs to come down to get the GT500 back up top. So we will do that very quickly. And this is where, when this cable is secured, we're gonna try and mount it to the posts. It will be out of the way nicely. It would help if I gave Brad the key, but that's in my pocket. What are we gonna do about this? Okay, key handed over. Now we can put this down. One of those. But I think this is quite much quieter after it's been run. This is quite a tidy installation that we've done with this. This is the middle lift. We number them, and we're gonna get to that when we're plugging everything into the system afterwards. So 1 is at that end because it was installed first, all the way through. Nearly done. The noise echoes nicely in here. All right, let's get this lined up. Somehow, it's an easy one actually to put on the lift of all of the cars. Dual clutch helps big time versus the manuals. Actually, they're not the hardest. The Vantage Roadster's the hardest with an automated manual. That's up, SF90 back under. To be honest, we've done this exceptionally smoothly as this goes. Might need to do a little reshuffle of that. Yeah, I'm gonna watch him in. And now, in the dark, hybrid charger, of course, goes in there. But in the future, not so much in the dark, which is going to be very nice. In fact, that's a good, like, comparative before and after. We'll see how it is later. That means we now have a mostly full house there. The Clio is gonna go back up to the far end. But before we get cracking with the last parts of the lighting, I wanna show you something over here. I need to work out the best way to open this, which is all sorts of chaos, but we'll get there. Carefully does it, because what's inside is really kind of cool. Fragile, from Italy. In fact, this is from CE Group Italia. And hopefully I can figure out how to get it open so I can show you what is inside, because here at the Shmuseum, it's like Christmas, pass the parcel, something like that, right? Where do we go? What's next? Which direction? Blade away from me, because I do not trust myself at all. That way. I'll get there.
A few moments later.
Well, clearly a prancing horse is involved. So, which way do we go? In here? Oh, nearly there, nearly there. Nope, there's more packaging. Whew. Well, that's cool. This is a prancing horse to pop on display here at the Shmuseum. Oh, I need to catch my breath. Keep on packing. I am nearly there. Nearly. Gosh. Let's get the last bits of tape and packaging off. Conscious that this blade here is delicate, or vulnerable. Not vulnerable, I'm vulnerable from the blade. Can I get this off? There we go. Nearly there. Wow. Check that out. The question is, where is that going to hang here in the garage? Because that is cool. I'm going to pop the link down below as well to where you can find that in CE Group Italia's eBay store. But yeah, very nice little piece to have here at the Shmuseum. Question is, where? Right now, I don't entirely know. We're going to find somewhere cool for it. The MSRT Transit Custom enters the building. This is, of course, here for tyres. Yes, technically you could put them in the Purosangue, but we're going to head over to Whoops, and to be honest, just in case, and because these ones will be dirty when they come off on the way home, we're going to take two. So Brad can drive the van, I will drive the Puro, and we'll take them together. And yes, this has very much become known as the Puro, because saying Purosangue is just a little too long every time. But it's time to take off these winter tyres. As helpful as they have been over winter, the weather is now a little bit too warm for something like this. So they need to pop off. We will leave them, well no, we'll bring them back and leave them on the shelf until next year. Brad is the smart man with some gloves. But these are the tyres. Yep. They even say, Whoops have labelled them, but they've got the acoustic stuff inside, the foam inside, which makes a big difference when you're driving. So I'm quite looking forward to having those back on it. Van loaded, bit of a shuffle behind, which means it is Purosangue time. First up though, obviously this has the Ferrari Charger, which is, as you can tell, a C-Tech product, but Ferrariized. So unplug that, leave that down there, come round, hop in here, we'll get this started. It is such a lovely thing, especially just for dailying. It seems crazy to daily a V12 Ferrari, but it does this. Nice. Let's go out. Just like that, we are here at Whoops Will Fix It. Obviously a place we visit frequently, but the Purosangue is next to my dad's Aston Martin DB11. That is here because he might have had a whoops, hence the name. And these guys will fix it. So that's why it's here. The two wheels on that side need a little fix up, and they are very complicated wheels on the DB11 because you have the diamond turn faces with the gloss black inserts, so it could not be in better hands. However, we now have the little swap over with the Puro to come. Actually, these two together are really quite nice. Both obviously navy blue exteriors. We've got the Koyo, which is this tan leather with navy blue inside there, and we've got the very bright white with navy blue in the DB11. So a cool pair together. Two V12 equipped GTs, you could say. Anyway, hopefully both out of here in the near future. It is always amusing to compare winter tyre tread, obviously with all of the extra grooves and softer tyre compound, to your summer tyres. These are the standard Bridgestone Potenza Sports that came with this thing, which obviously have your more traditional look to them. But I barely drove with these because we popped it on the winter tyres when it was literally brand new, and took it on the road trip around Europe. But now that the weather, in theory, has improved, I mean, it's a little bit better than it was, it's time to get the swap back over again. I still haven't swapped the plates. Of course, this is going to get a plate with a quote down at the bottom, which I actually have back at base. So that's one to do at some point. I'm not quite sure when. While the guys crack on with that, we're gonna take this and pop to the shops very briefly, and then be back here in a couple of minutes. Another Shmee 150 curse, by the way, front windscreens. Not sure when this one went, but you can see there was a chip here, and whoop, we need a new one. It happens a lot. Take a look at this. Not the best news. This is one of the front wheels, but you will see here, this has had a little blow-in before. This has been damaged and repaired very locally because the rest is original paint, just this area. And what's interesting about that is this is a front wheel. These have never been out of my sight other than when we popped the winter tyres on. Well, that wasn't even out of my sight, or before I owned it, which means that was actually repaired prior to my ownership of this car, not replaced, which is interesting. I couldn't tell you much about it. It's life, it happens, but still interesting to see. And the guys here spotted that and pointed it out to me. All four now loaded, of the winters at least. It's busy around here, but perfect van for the purpose. And very shortly, we'll have this ready for us to venture back home. And then in an instant, we shall re-emerge at the Shmuseum. Ready to get back on the road, start time. Let's see what this is like now that we've got the summer tyres back on it. Some cars back inside, and a Bradley. You having fun back here?
Yes.
It's one way to do it. Does the job. Thank you. Magic, nice and easy. Van, literally the most useful thing here. Immensely, immensely helpful. Tyres on the top shelf until next winter. Before we get to testing, we need to put the Clio back. Oh, I'd left it unlocked. There we go. Good to go. We'll move this back over to the far end, although that means a nice little zing as this thing starts. Sounds so cool. The next step then of the lighting. So to update you, where we've got is that all of the lifts technically now have strip lights under them. They're all now wired to the back, but at the back, we need to tidy up the cables. If I go to the far end, we have made a start, and I can show you what we've done with the, I don't know how to call it, the yellow trunking along the floor that we have back here, because for these ones, super simple, cable comes down to the floor, runs under there to the back, totally fine, very happy with that. I do want a system whereby these will kind of hook here-ish, we'll get something to hold it in place so that it goes up with the lift, comes down with the lift, and doesn't get trapped on anything. Luckily, when they go down, there is a like 10 centimeter gap here, so nothing does squish or get crushed, but obviously we don't want a cable going into the hydraulics for the lifts. That would be bad. So we need to go through, we've done the first two, and tidy up the others, getting the cables neatly folded away, which should all be fairly smooth sailing back here to make it very tidy, or tidy enough, I could argue, and then ready to continue from there and set up all the plugs. This is the moment of truth, to see it. I mean, we know it works, but to show you how cool this looks. So at the moment, obviously there's no lighting under the lifts, and I'm gonna have to constructively bleep out a bit of this, but Lift side off. That turns off the lights above me. Shutter side off. That turns off those ones. I love this. Mood lighting or what? This is where, let's give this a go. Lift 7 on. Ooh, look at that. Lift 6 on. Oh, that looks so nice. Do you know what? Should we stand back and just do them all? Memorabilia on. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. There's only one problem, if you can see me at all. The one problem is that the cars up top are not illuminated, or we might need some spotlights for that. That is mega compared to how this looked before. In fact, I've got this remote. I can just switch them all off like that as well. Look at that difference. That is absolutely mad how good that looks. That is why colourful cars are the best for this. Oh my days. The F1 especially looks immense. You can also do different brightnesses as well. It doesn't have to be quite that bright. But I think we want them all 100%. Result. Very, very successful. Everything on. Back to full brightness. And, wait for it. There we go. And slightly brighter around the back as well, which helps because of some of the glow that goes through. Solid result, that. Really happy. Well worth wiring all of those up. A small thing up here as well that I want to come and show you, and yes, there's more in this room to tidy up. I like Rubik's Cubes. I now have a Rubik's fridge in the office. I know, colourful. It fits my theme, right? Along with those, the maxi swatches and that amazing painting. But we do have more things to get mounted on the wall and an office room up here to tidy up. But hey, this is very cool how this whole place is shaping up. I haven't mentioned it yet today, but we recently changed a lot of the boards up here, just moved a few around, updated the layout a little bit, changed what, when, where, why, and how. But the idea, remember, with all of that was to make it feel like a grandstand at a race circuit. And I think it does exactly that. I know it's like an explosion of color, but today we've done a lot, from an update on the work by Novus and what they've been getting up to. We've installed the lighting under the lifts, taken the GT500 out for a quick run, taken the Purosangue to get the tires swapped, and a quick bit of feedback on that. The drive on the summer tires is so much quieter and calmer, obviously without the winter tire benefits, which you need in colder weather, but I'm looking forward to more miles with it. We've had some updates from over here at the workshop side and LIQUI MOLY's support of what's going on. And in fact, I do want to do more here, more with this space, whether that's eventually a 2-post lift being installed, or if it's just a case of finding the right person to come and help teach us a little bit more of what we should be doing. Because I think we could service some cars, we could do some more light modifications. There's a lot of scope. We've got lots of tools, we've got lots of space. We just don't have much idea on how to make the most of it. And just lots of little things being ticked off. That's why it was kind of a Building My Dream Garage episode update after 4 or 5 months since the last one. But it's a big thanks to everybody who has been involved. Don't forget to check out the products from LIQUI MOLY that are available for your car from the product guide, which is linked right down below. That's it for today, though. Thank you very much for watching, as always, guys. I appreciate your support an awful lot, and I hope you like how this video has turned out. We've been testing a few things along the way. That's it for now, though. Thank you very much, and I'll see you again soon. Cheers!